You're under attack. Right now, every hour, every minute, and you don't even know it. There are forces, companies, algorithms, entire industries dedicated to one mission, capturing your attention, stealing your focus, keeping you distracted so you never build anything that matters. They've studied you. They know what triggers you. They know exactly how to pull you back the moment you try to concentrate on something real. And they're winning. Every time you pick up your phone without thinking, every time you scroll when you should be working, every time you look up and realize an hour has vanished into nothing, they win and you lose. I am Thomas Shelby, and today I'll teach you how to fight back. How to identify the distractions that are destroying your life, how to eliminate them ruthlessly, how to build a fortress around your focus that nothing can penetrate. Learn this and you reclaim the hours they've been stealing from you. Ignore it and you'll wake up 10 years from now wondering where your life went. Listen carefully. This is war. And it's time you started fighting. Let me tell you something that should disturb you. Your distraction is someone else's profit. Every app on your phone, every platform you use, every piece of content fighting for your eyes is designed by people whose job is to keep you looking, to keep you scrolling, to keep you coming back. They don't care about your goals. They don't care about your growth. They care about your attention, because your attention is what they sell. The longer you stay, the more ads you see, the more you engage, the more data they collect, the more distracted you are, the richer they become. This is the attention economy, and you're the product being harvested. The smartest engineers in the world, people who could be solving real problems, spend their days figuring out how to make apps more addictive, how to trigger your dopamine, how to create loops that keep you trapped. They've studied psychology. They've run millions of experiments. They know exactly which colors to use, which sounds to play, which notifications to send, and exactly when to send them. You think you're in control? You're not. You're fighting against billions of dollars of research designed to exploit the weaknesses of the human brain, weaknesses you didn't even know you had. And every time you say, "I'll just check this for a second," you're walking into a trap built by people smarter than you, funded better than you, and more committed to your distraction than you are to your focus. That's what you're up against. Still think you can handle it casually? Let me show you what distraction actually costs. You sit down to work. You have 3 hours. That should be enough to make real progress on something that matters. But within 15 minutes, you check your phone. Just a glance, just a second. Except it's never a second. That glance pulls you into a message. The message leads to a feed. The feed shows you something that triggers another click. And suddenly, 20 minutes have vanished. You return to your work, but your mind isn't there. It's still processing what you just saw. It takes another 15 minutes to regain focus. You're finally back, deep in the work, making progress. Then another notification, another glance, another 20 minutes gone, another 15 to recover. At the end of your 3 hours, you've done maybe 45 minutes of real work. The rest was lost to interruptions and recovery. That's the math of distraction, and it's devastating. Now multiply it across a week, a month, a year, a decade. The hours you've lost aren't just hours. They're the book you never wrote, the business you never built, the skills you never developed, the person you never became. Distraction doesn't just steal time, it steals potential. It steals the future you could have had if you'd been able to focus on what actually mattered. I've watched men with talent, real talent, waste their lives in fragments, not because they were lazy, because they couldn't protect their attention long enough to build anything. They had 3 hours a day of real work in them, but But those 3 hours were shattered into so many pieces that nothing ever got built. That's the true cost. Not just lost time, a lost life. Before you can fight distraction, you need to understand it. There are 3 types. Each one attacks differently. Each one requires a different defense. The first type is digital distraction. This is the obvious one. Your phone, your apps, your notifications, the endless scroll that pulls you under like quicksand. Digital distraction is engineered. It's the product of billions of dollars and the brightest minds working to capture you. It's the most aggressive attacker, and it's the one you're probably most aware of. But awareness isn't defense. Knowing your phone is a problem doesn't stop you from picking it up. The second type is social distraction. These are the people around you. The colleague who stops by to chat about nothing, the friend who calls when you're deep in work, the family member who doesn't respect your time, the endless requests, demands, and obligations that fragment your day. Social distraction is harder to address because it wears the mask of relationship. Saying no feels rude, setting boundaries feels selfish, so you let people steal hours from you, one interruption at a time. The third type is internal distraction. This is the hardest to see and the hardest to fight. It's your own mind, the wandering thoughts, the anxiety about things you can't control, the replaying of conversations, the worrying about the future, the dwelling on the past. You can put your phone in another room, you can close your door, but you can't escape your own head. Internal distraction is there even when everything else is quiet, and for many men, it's the most destructive of all. 3 enemies: digital, social, internal. Each one must be defeated. Let me show you how. Your phone is the primary enemy. I don't say that lightly. That device in your pocket has destroyed more potential than any other invention in human history. Not because it's evil, because it's engineered to be irresistible. So stop resisting, start removing. The first rule is separation. When you need to focus, the phone leaves the room, not silenced, not flipped over, gone, in another room, in a drawer, somewhere you cannot reach without getting up and breaking your flow. Out of sight is out of mind. That's not weakness. That's understanding how your brain works. If the phone is near you, you'll check it. You'll feel the pull. You'll hear the phantom vibrations. And eventually, you'll give in. Remove it entirely, and the pull fades. Your brain stops expecting the stimulation, and after 20 minutes, you forget it exists. The second rule is deletion. Look at your phone right now. How many apps actually serve your goals? How many exist only to distract you? Delete the ones that take more than they give. Social media, games, anything that's designed to capture attention rather than provide value. You don't need them. You think you do, but that's the addiction talking. I don't keep anything on my phone that doesn't serve a clear purpose. Communication, navigation, tools I actually use, everything else is gone. When I pick up my phone, there's nothing to scroll, nothing to check, nothing to pull me in. It's a tool, not a trap. The third rule is scheduled access. If you can't delete something entirely, if you need it for work or genuine connection, schedule when you use it. I check messages twice a day, morning and evening, not constantly, not whenever the urge strikes, at scheduled times, for scheduled durations. Outside those windows, and the apps don't exist for me. I'm not exercising willpower every minute. I've simply decided that right now is not the time. This is how you defeat digital distraction, not through willpower, through architecture. You design your digital life so that distraction isn't an option. People don't think of themselves as distractions. They think they're being friendly, connecting, reaching out. They don't see the cost, but you see it, and it's your job to protect yourself. The first rule is boundaries. You need hours that are untouchable, periods where you do not respond to calls, send messages, or visits, where the world knows you are unavailable and doesn't expect otherwise. I have hours like this every day, times when my door is closed and stays closed, when my phone is unreachable, when anyone who approaches knows they are interrupting something important. This isn't rudeness, this is self-preservation. If you're available to everyone all the time, you'll never build anything. You'll be pulled in every direction until your day is gone and you have nothing to show for it. Set the boundaries, communicate them clearly, enforce them without apology. The second rule is filtering. Not everyone deserves your time. There are people in your life who drain without giving, who take hours and leave you with nothing, who treat your attention as their right. These people need to be filtered out, not necessarily from your life, but from your productive hours. Schedule them into your rest time, if you must see them at all, but never let them into the hours you've set aside for building. Your time is not a public resource. It belongs to you, and you decide who gets access. The third rule is training. You have to train the people around you. If you've always been available, they expect availability. If you've always said yes, they expect yes. Changing that takes time and consistency. When you start saying no, they'll push back, they'll question, they'll test whether you really mean it. Every time you enforce your boundary, you train them to respect it. Every time you cave, you train them to ignore it. Be consistent, be firm, and over time they'll learn. The interruptions will fade, and your protected hours will stay protected. This is the invisible war. You've removed the phone, you've closed the door, the external distractions are gone. And still, your mind wanders. It replays the argument from yesterday. It worries about the meeting tomorrow. It jumps from thought to thought, never settling, never focusing, never quiet. This is internal distraction, and it's the hardest to defeat because there's no switch to flip, no device to remove, no door to close. The enemy is inside. The first rule is externalization. Your mind wanders because it's trying to hold too much. It's processing unresolved thoughts, unwritten tasks, unaddressed anxieties. Get them out of your head. Write them down. Before you start any focused work, take 2 minutes and dump everything in your mind onto paper. Every worry, every task, every thought that's circling. Once it's written, your mind relaxes. It doesn't need to hold onto it anymore. The information is safe, externalized, waiting for later. This simple practice can cut internal distraction in half. The second rule is single tasking. Your mind is not a multi-core processor. It's a single lane road. And when you try to think about multiple things, you create traffic. And when you sit down to work on one thing, not 2 tabs open, not one project while thinking about another. One thing, complete focus. When a stray thought arises, and it will, acknowledge it, write it down, and return to the single task. This is training. You're training your mind to stay, to settle, to resist the urge to jump. It takes time, but with practice, your mind learns to focus. The wandering decreases, the depth increases. The third rule is acceptance. Some internal distraction you cannot eliminate, only accept. The anxiety about the future, the regret about the past, the existential noise that comes with being human. Fighting it directly doesn't work. The more you resist, the louder it gets. Instead, acknowledge it. Yes, this thought is here. I see it. I'm returning to my work. You don't need a silent mind to focus. You need a mind that can acknowledge noise and continue anyway. That's mastery, not the absence of distraction, the ability to work in spite of it. Let me bring it all together. You need to build a fortress around your focus, a structure that protects your attention from every direction. The physical layer, a space where you work, cleared of distractions, phone in another room, notifications silenced, door closed if possible. An environment that says, this is where focus happens. The temporal layer, scheduled hours that are non-negotiable, times when the world knows you're unavailable, protected windows where nothing gets through except the work. The digital layer, apps deleted or restricted, access scheduled, the phone transformed from a trap into a tool. The social layer, boundaries communicated, people trained, the energy vampires filtered into times that don't cost you progress. The internal layer, thoughts externalized, single tasking enforced, a mind trained to acknowledge noise without obeying it. 5 layers. Build them all and you become untouchable. Not because you're superhuman, because you've engineered an environment where distraction can't reach you. That's the fortress, that's your defense. And inside those walls, you can finally build something that matters. Let me tell you what happens when you eliminate distraction. Hours appear, hours you didn't know you had. Time that used to vanish into fragments suddenly consolidates into solid blocks. With those hours, you build. The projects that sat untouched for months, you finish them. The skills you wanted to develop, you develop them. The vision that lived only in your head, you bring it into the world. Your mind sharpens. Without constant interruption, your thinking goes deeper. You see connections you missed. You solve problems that seemed impossible. Your confidence grows because you're producing now. You're executing. You're not just dreaming about who you could be. You're becoming him. And the noise, the distractions that once consumed your life, you don't miss them. You look back and wonder how you ever let them steal so much. You feel pity for the men still trapped, still scrolling, still losing years to nothing. That's the transformation. Not just more time, a different life. A life where you control your attention, where your focus is a weapon you wield, not a resource others harvest. That's what you're fighting for. Now you understand the war. Distraction isn't an accident, it's an assault, engineered, funded, and targeted directly at your potential. And until today, you were losing. But now you have the strategy. Eliminate digital distraction, remove, delete, schedule, defeat social distraction, boundaries, filtering, training, conquer internal distraction, externalize, single task, accept. Build the fortress, protect your hours, reclaim the life they've been stealing from you. Starting today, not tomorrow, today. If someone you know is drowning in distraction, scrolling their life away, unfocused, send them this. Share it with a friend who needs to understand that their attention is under attack and there's a way to fight back. Because the man who masters his focus masters his future. And the man who can't focus, he builds nothing, he becomes nothing, he disappears into the noise. That's not going to be you. Not anymore. Your fortress starts now.